of somebody that might be on diabetes, right? They might have a
On
heart.
October 23rd,
Well, somebody
Chad Richmond, a science, math, and internship coordinator, spoke to some students about careers and what it takes to become an active commuter in the career field of their choice. The main idea of the Sinclair Talk seminar was being able to get students to start gaining some knowledge and information about the field, balancing school and work by becoming interns under a supervisor that would aid them in their studies. What would you suggest to students that are trying to balance school and work?
So, most importantly, is that you definitely have to have a good relationship with whoever your manager and whoever your supervisor is. And most importantly, I would say, is try to find work or employment in the field that you're studying. The reason why is that much more acceptable when you're working with a company that if you say, hey, I have a test or I need to do something, they're a little bit more understanding as opposed to that if you're, let's just say you're, I don't know, a sandwich artist and you're trying to tell them like, hey, I have to study for my nursing exam. It doesn't really make sense because they're not connected together. So one of the key things is trying to find a work that's related to your field of study. I would say that's most important when you're trying to find balance, so that way they understand the difference between the two.
Experience.
I would say more on experience. A lot of times people get very hung up on resumes thinking that's how you get the job. At the end of the day, if you're familiar with driving down an expressway or a highway, you see a billboard. The billboard is quite simply your resume. It just gets you noticed. But the reason why I'm bringing you in is because of experience. So that early on, like you saw here today with the seminar, is that one of the gentlemen, he would hire one of our students because he has no experience, and even though he's an entry-level worker. So you need to have that experience. And with experience, it helps build your resume. Your resume tells your story, but experience is a real-world experience, real-world application of your abilities.
And work.
How have I balanced it? For me personally, it's very difficult because I had to pay my way through college. So I worked anywhere between 38 to 45 hours a week sometimes, waiting tables and then going to school at the same time. So for me personally, I know it can be done. I know it can also impact your grades if you're not mindful and you're not really good with time management. And sadly, I think sometimes time management comes through experience. So back to that whole experience. So for me personally, it was very much a challenge, but I knew I wanted to get my degree. In order to get my degree, I had to work and earn it all at the same time.
Or Facebook.
So professionally speaking, as we kind of addressed today, we get very hung up on just networking, but not the connecting thing. So we talk about how many people I know, but of those people that you know, how many of them really would help you get to the next level? So as far as resources go, obviously Facebook's a huge giant out there from networking standpoint, and LinkedIn's a great tool from networking as well. But the question that you need to ask yourself is how are you using those to really connect you? So both of those resources are great, but I still think at the end of the day, grabbing a cup of coffee with maybe an owner, an operator, or a professor, or a staff member here on campus or off campus is probably the best way to help you really connect. The one reason is they really get to know you, just like we got to know the students today. Chad Richmond, Science, Math, and Engineering Internship Coordinator.